Welcome everyone. This is the MasterClass. My name is Patricknazareth. I have around 30 years of teaching experience and I would like to help dispel your doubts should you have any. Today we studied the short story The Medicine Bag, written by Virginia Driving Hawk Sneve. Virginia Driving Hawk Sneve was born on February the 22nd, 1933. She is a Native American. She writes mainly on children's books and Native Americans. She was born on a reservation, the Rosebud Indian Reservation. She is a member of the Rosebud Dakota tribe, an offshoot of the Sioux tribe. She studied journalism at the South Dakota State University. The Christmas quote, Memories of My Sioux Childhood, was published in 2011 and was named in Smithsonian Magazine's Best Children's Books of the Year 2011. Isn't it nice to have a relative or somebody known to us who is probably in a good position, or there is somebody we can boast about? We are introduced to a brother and sister, Martin and Cheryl. They have a Sioux grandfather, Joe Iron Shell. That is a big deal to all their friends in the city because they are used to seeing on the television, in the movies, Red Indians and cowboys. These children go to visit their grandfather every summer, and whenever they come back, they tell them stories about life on the reservation, making quite a bit up. They show authentic Sioux articles to their friends, things given to them by their grandfather, like moccasins for Cheryl or a drum for her brother, which makes their experiences even more real. But one thing both the brother and sister do not do, they never show the grandfather's photograph to their friends. Why is that? Because on TV, on movie, a Red Indian is a glamorous figure. And they knew their grandfather was nothing like that. He was just a normal person. Of course, he was a Red Indian, but a normal old person. One day, Martin hears a loud noise, a commotion. He comes out. He sees the dogs on the street, young children running behind somebody. He looks and he realizes that's his grandfather. He is suddenly embarrassed. His grandfather here in his town coming to his house? What will people say? What will people think? But he runs out and he gets angry seeing the way the dogs are barking at his grandfather and troubling him, and how the grandfather is trying to beat them away with a cane. He yells at the dogs and shoos them away. The children also leave him. He puts his arms around his grandfather, picks up his old tin box tied with a string. He helps him to their house. On the steps of the house, the mother is there. She is equally shocked to see her father. What are you doing here? What was the need for him to come here? The door behind the mother opens. Who comes out? Cheryl. She is very happy to see her grandfather. She runs up and hugs him. Of course, he hugs her back. But grandfather is in a state of exhaustion. He collapses. They help him to the bedroom. Martin undresses the old man while his mother goes looking for a doctor. He doesn't want his grandfather to feel embarrassed should his mother undress him. While doing so, he finds that his boots, the first thing that you take off, is stuffed full of money. The doctor comes in. Martin's father also returns around the same time. The verdict? The grandfather is simply suffering from exhaustion. He has pushed himself too far without any rest. Grandfather recovers consciousness and he is asked why. So he explains. He says that after they left the reservation, he felt lonesome and he realized it was his time to die. So he came to see where his descendants are living. He had traveled for 2.5 days by bus across the length and breadth of the country to visit. The father was upset. If only you had told us, we would have brought you with us when we came back home after we visited you. The grandfather smiled. That wasn't my time to come, he replied. In his boots, he was carrying his funeral money. Why had he come now? He realized his days on earth were numbered. He expected to die among his people, among his family. He had come to present the medicine bag he wore around his neck to Martin, his last remaining male descendant. Martin feels embarrassed. How is he going to wear a dirty bag around his neck? For gym class, for swimming, he is going to have to strip down. And when he does so, other boys will notice and they will make fun of him. And he is worried on that score. Over the coming few days, the news of Martin's grandfather spreads all across the town. But Martin doesn't bring his friends home, no matter how much they want to. There is always some excuse or the other. But his sister Cheryl, She is proud of her grandfather. She feels no need to hide him from anyone. And every day a group of her friends are over, laughing, giggling, the old man telling them stories. One day, Martin's friends have enough, and they say we are coming over regardless. And they walk over with him. He tries to stop them, but as one of his closest friends tell him, "My younger brother has been there thrice. That time your grandfather was not sick. What is preventing him from meeting us?" They walk up. On the patio, Martin's grandfather is waiting. He is dressed in his best, moccasins, his red satin shirt. He has on a vest, his hat with a feather on it, dusted and beautiful. He looks an imposing figure. The grandfather speaks to the friends, and they are very respectful in front of him. They are amazed to hear his stories, how the vest that he is wearing came from a deer whom he himself had killed. Martin feels proud of his grandfather, seeing the effect his grandfather is having on his friends. His grandfather knew the reason why Martin wasn't calling his friends over, so he gently teases him. "I knew today was the day that your friends would be coming over, which is why I was prepared." His friends are all praised for his grandfather and tell Martin of their hope of coming again. However, his mother stops all visits. She tells Martin, "Your grandfather, no matter how much he enjoys meeting other people, is not well. He is exhausted. He must be given time to rest." After Martin's friends had gone away, Grandpa sent for Martin. "Tomorrow, it will be time for you to receive the medicine bag." Martin couldn't sleep. He had these weird dreams that came to him. He went off to school, but his mind was on his grandfather. He rushed home straight after school was finished. There was no one in the home except his grandfather. His grandfather told him, "I have sent away your mother and your sister. This needs to remain between us men. I cannot say what I have to say to you in front of the women." He takes the medicine bag from around his neck. Martin prepares to accept it, and the grandfather tells him the story behind it. He explained that in olden times, young Indians looked for a vision of how their future would unfold, what they would do in their lives. His own father, even though at that time they had been beaten by the white men and forced to live on a reservation, believed in this. He went through a ritual steam bath. He fasted for 3 days on the top of a cliff until finally he received his vision. The main idea that he pulled out of his dream was that he would have to do something with the iron of the white men. He didn't really understand, but when he went back down by the side of the creek, he found an old iron kettle. At that time, kettles were made of iron. He took a piece of it, put it inside his medicine bag, and went to the village. There he told the elders his dream. They didn't really understand it, but they gave him a new name, Iron Shell. The white men came to the reservation, and they forced all the young men to come with them. They took them to boarding to learn the white men's ways. The grandfather's father resisted. He did not wish to leave his life. He did not wish to leave his reservation. He definitely did not want to learn the ways of the white men. One day, he was taken to a blacksmith shop, and there he realized that this was his vision. He worked hard, became a good blacksmith, and carried on his trade in the village. When he grew old, he passed on, as was the tradition, the medicine bag to his eldest son, Martin's grandfather. Martin's grandfather broke down, remembering his own father. Martin's grandfather did have a son. He was sent to war. Martin's grandfather wanted his son to take the medicine bag, believing that it would protect him from harm. But the son refused. He was afraid that he might lose it, so he didn't take it, and he died on the battlefield. Grandfather's eyes welled up with tears when he recalled the death of his only son. Martin doesn't know what to do. Perhaps he blamed himself for not pushing hard enough to give him the medicine bag which would protect him. He pulls himself together. He opened the bag and he said that in the bag there is a pebble from the cliff where your great-grandfather went up and meditated. There is the piece of iron that I told you about, and some sage from there. He turned it upside down and some dust fell out. He said, "Take it now. You don't need to wear it around your neck. But when my time has come," in other words, when the grandfather would have died, "you need to go to the desert. You need to take a piece of sage, put it in the medicine bag, and then make it your own until you have somebody to pass it on to." Next day, the grandfather was so ill that he had to be hospitalized. 2 weeks later, Martin is at the reservation, and he is carrying on the tradition as told to him by his grandfather. We can understand that the old man has passed away. Who are the characters of the story? Martin, the young boy, who is both the narrator and the protagonist. He has mixed Sioux heritage and he lives in a town in Iowa. Joe Ironshell, Martin's grandfather, an 86-year-old soul gentleman who lives at the Rosebud Reservation, quietly dignified, possessing wisdom and courage. Cheryl, Martin's 10-year-old sister. She loves her grandfather and feels no embarrassment while embracing him or introducing him to her friends. Mari, Martin and Cheryl's mother. She is the connecting link between the world of the whites and the world of the soul. She tries to preserve her culture, ensuring that she sends Martin and his sister to the reservation every summer. The father, we don't know his name. He is a white college professor. He married into the Sioux tribe. He treats grandfather with the honor and respect that he should get, no matter that they come from different backgrounds and cultures. The setting then, an unnamed town in Iowa, probably in the 1970s or the 1980s. Martin's neighborhood, which is a middle-class suburban area. The family home, where Martin lives with his entire family and Grandpa comes to visit. The prairie on the reservation, where Martin follows the tradition given to him by his grandfather. Grandfather's home on the reservation, a part log, part tar paper shack. What are the literary devices used in this story? Symbolism. For example, the medicine bag, it represents cultural heritage, family tradition, and spiritual connection. The iron piece, it symbolizes adaptation and survival in an ever-changing world. The sage, the sacred plant, it represents renewal and spiritual purification. Grandpa's clothing, traditional clothing versus modern clothing. Which identity is preferable, the old or the new? Irony is there. Situational irony. Martin's friend have far more respect for grandfather than Martin has. Not that he doesn't respect him, but he is embarrassed. There is dramatic irony. We as readers understand the grandfather. We understand while he can sense his grandson's embarrassment, he does not try and force Martin. He understands that the grandson must